Well, it's finally here. Let's talk the biggest news day of 2025. Okay, friends, let's talk about the biggest news day of the market of 2025. Here's what you need to know. First up, today is a huge day for market news that may set the tone for the rest of the year. So what I'm going to do is let's just run through all of the headline stories of the last couple weeks, and I'll tell you what I think about them. I've been pretty quiet for a little bit now, mainly because there was so much noise without anything actionable going on. I figured it would be good if I didn't add to the noise, but we're actually going to get some real data now, and so here's what I expect. First up, let's talk about NVIDIA. Let's talk about the DeepSeek thing. So there was an AI model that was released, came out of China, and basically, parsing all the technologic details, there was a way of maybe, if you believe them, training AI models at basically a fraction of the overall cost. This, of course, sent NVIDIA lower, and I think NVIDIA experienced the single largest loss of market cap of any company ever. And for my take, I got a tremendous amount of inbound from people looking to buy NVIDIA, and I didn't like that, and here's why. Red here is NVIDIA, orange is the 50-day moving average, purple here is the 200-day moving average, and what do you notice? Well, we gave up our 50-day, so this is very different than what the market is doing, and now we're doing a test here on the 200-day. The 200-day is really sort of like that last line of defense to defend your uptrend. If you break from the 200-day and start going lower, that basically puts your stock into a downtrend, at least to my eyes, to what a trend follower would say. And I think NVIDIA might be preparing for something like that here. The reason why is if you look at NVIDIA stock, NVIDIA is basically back to where it was in summer of last year. And what that tells us is the semiconductor space, the chip space, and NVIDIA, which was the best of the chip space, they've really lost leadership. They were very strong in 2023. They had an okay 2024. And now it looks like, just as leadership is sort of always changing in the market, it looks like the era of the chip stocks may be over. Now, that's not to say NVIDIA could have a positive test here on the 200-day moving average, and it could continue to move higher. Certainly with great earnings, it might do so. But one of the things that I always caution investors on, and the reason why I've gotten a tremendous amount of inbound on NVIDIA and really didn't like any of the inbound inquiries into, hey, should we buy this? My goal as advisor is to always have you take the highest probability of success, right? And what we know is the market has been going higher and it has been fantastic since summer of last year to where we are now. And the chip sector has not done that. And so when we see this loss of leadership, you don't want to go into these sorts of areas. You want to go into the areas that are trending, that don't have to fight a battle like this. There are better opportunities elsewhere, I think, to make money in 2024. So you don't want to chase the leaders from yesterday. Year, that's generally a very painful thing to do. Still Mag 7, still fantastic to hold all the rest of that, but I just wouldn't be rushing out to buy any here on the test of the 200-day. Second up, big piece of news, we're going to hear from the FOMC. The Federal Reserve is going to come out this afternoon and give their first meeting for 2025 on interest rates. My expectation, I think they're going to pause, but their commentary is going to be everything. Whether they see the inflation picture as getting better and potentially a more dovish sort of pause, I think this is going to be one to watch. I've got no earthly idea how this is going to go. I'm pretty confident that they're going to pause. I think that one's pretty easy to take to the bank, but the commentary on what they see for the path of interest rates for the rest of the year, I think is actually pretty live here. So I wouldn't be stepping in front of this one. And then finally, today after the bell, we're going to hear from Tesla. We're going to hear from Meta. We're going to hear from Microsoft. We're going to start to get into the Magnificent Seven earnings. Now, this is going to be very important for setting the tone for the market and where it goes from here. And as I told you, in all the weeks leading up to this, and if you think about it, if you've been watching a lot of CNBC or following a bunch of financial news, there have been huge stories, huge moves in the market, and I really haven't read too much into any of them, only because I've been waiting for real hard data. I want the Magnificent Seven to tell us how the fourth quarter of last year was. So we're going to get Meta and Microsoft after the bell today. Tomorrow, we're going to get Apple, and we're going to continue on as we go throughout the weeks. We're going to get more of this data as we go. So what does this all mean? Biggest market news of 2025? Well, today is going to bring a deluge of market news. And what I would say is that technologic change in AI might be disrupting the disruptor. I'm speaking about NVIDIA and DeepSeek there. So I'm a little bit cautious on those developments out of the chip space. Federal Reserve is expected to pause this afternoon, but commentary is going to be important. I don't have a dog in that fight. I'm going to let Jay Powell tell me what he's focusing on. And then finally, this is the important one. And I think this one's going to be positive. So I'm not worried about the market here. But what I think is earnings and guidance from the Magnificent Seven over the next few days should set the tone for the broader market. And I expect it to be positive. I think if you look at companies that have reported earnings, we just got ASML this morning. It was a fantastic report. Stock is doing really well there. And so that would continue the trend of what we're seeing out of earnings being pretty positive. So there you go. A ton of news. I know I've been away for a little while only because I really didn't have anything to add to the conversation, but we're starting to get active here now. I'll see you next week for the markets review. Take care. Okay, friends, that was the video. Hope you liked it. If you found it informative, good, entertaining, I'd love if you could scroll down here beneath the video and give me a like there. It helps us out with the algorithm. And then if you want to be notified first of anything new that we upload to the channel, if you come over here, click subscribe. You'll be the first to know as soon as we upload anything. Appreciate it. See you soon.